Hey everyone, this is Rachel Roseman, and I just finished watching the Fat City training, so I wanted to share my thoughts on it. It was a very interesting video, clearly one of those old school PBS videos, kind of like the Ken Burns videos, that really went in depth on a topic and tried to help people understand what it's like to have a learning disability in this case. And so, although I didn't like some aspects of the video, I didn't like that it was called fat, even though doesn't have anything to do with weight. And I didn't like how old school it was. I mean, it did actually say the word retarded, and it said some other words that I thought were really outdated. But I did think it had some really good techniques for helping students. I thought the technique about privately telling a student that you won't call on that person unless you're standing by him or her was a great idea. And also making sure to pass out copies of anything copied on the board so that they don't have to do it. And I liked all the simulations. I liked how he had people try to look in a mirror and write a symbol on the paper and try to read things that looked completely wrong. And I really liked how he compared the watch to the PBQD. It's very true that there's no other thing in our lives that gets turned around and we get told it's something else. It's only certain letters or symbols. So I thought that was really interesting. And I had to wonder what the student in the audience thought who did have a learning disability, because it was funny and the adults were laughing their way through the simulations, but I was thinking, wow, she really has a learning disability. What does she think about this? So that was kind of an interesting aspect to it. And I think that in culturally responsive pedagogy and in all our classes, like classroom management, we're being taught at the UACM program that we shouldn't use all these shaming techniques and the public shaming or berating kids when they don't have the right answer. And so I hope that teachers today, a lot of them don't do that, but I know they probably still do, even those with learning disabilities, with students who have learning disabilities. And I have to say, this video gave me a tremendous amount of sympathy for my son. My son has ADHD, but we actually didn't get it diagnosed until he was like 7 years old, and he had been through 3 tiers at school, and he had to go to an educational tester. And so now he has been diagnosed and he takes a non-stimulant medication, and he is doing great in school. He has all A's and B's. He doesn't have any more special tiers of intervention, but he still struggles with body awareness and with having his mind get very distractible. I liked how the difference between distractible and not being able to pay attention was explained in the video, because it's true, the person with distractibility is actually paying attention to everything. So I enjoyed that aspect I enjoyed hearing about the difference between those two terms. That's true for my son. So I made a vow to redouble my efforts to be really kind and understanding with my son when he's struggling with schoolwork, or when he doesn't seem to hear or understand what I'm saying or do what I'm asking him to do. And I think that it's just a constant need to stay aware of his needs and make sure that I understand where he's coming from, because it's so easy to forget when you don't have a learning disability or have a learning problem. And I realize that there are so many other types of issues too, such as processing disorders or reading challenges and dyslexia that can come up. And so I really want to make it a goal to be aware of what my students can be struggling with and know the symptoms and what that would look like for them, how they would answer in class, or how what their thinking or talking would look like, so that I can be sure to help each student in the best way possible and tailor learning to their needs, because I don't ever want my students to feel like those people must have felt when the teacher was berating them. I want my students to feel comfortable and accepted, and I want to model that and have all their peers in the classroom follow suit too. So I think the video was valuable, even though it's obviously pretty dated, and it's definitely going to give me big awareness of what my own students are going through.